Hello and welcome to In the Weeds. We're recording live from the Picky Weeds Esoteric Occult Boutique, located just south of Clark Summit, Pennsylvania, in beautiful South Abington Township. Picky Weeds is the largest and most diverse boutique of its kind in Northeast Pennsylvania, with an increasingly wide variety of items for many traditions.
In addition to items for sale, Picky Weeds hosts a wide variety of classes, events, and community-driven gatherings throughout the year. Picky Weeds is located at 105 Layton Road, South Abington Township, PA. Open Wednesday through Sunday, 12 p.m. to 8 p.m. More information can be found at www.pickyweeds.com. That's PICKEYWEEDZ.com, or on our social media channels on Facebook, Instagram, TikTok, and YouTube. In the Weeds is the official podcast for Picky Weeds, where we strive to bring the community together with topics of interest, guest speakers, and informative discussions to benefit the entire community.
If you'd like to be a guest speaker, either live or remote call-in, please visit www.pickyweeds.com. Scroll down to the bottom of the page, find In the Weeds podcast guest application, click it, copy and paste the text into an email with your contact information, and send it to us at pickyweeds@gmail.com.
Now let's get in the weeds. Good morning, everybody. Season 2, episode 22. And I wish I could say it's been a good week. But unfortunately, it's been a flustercluck.
Yeah.
No, I said it. So anybody that's been following along with the news, as if they were actually reporting the news on the news, but, you know, they're bought and paid for and all owned by the same two companies. So they're not really reporting. Knows what happened at the Supreme Court this week. And we are trying to look at it unbiased because at first, absolute rage. At the protections of our waters and the protections of our air and the protections of our soil were just eroded. And the people charged with protecting all of that were pretty much nullified by the Supreme Court. Yeah. They took supreme power. So they placed themselves, you know, we have the executive branch, the legislative branch, the judicial branch, and they're supposed to all act in accordance with one another and keep the checks and balances. And the Supreme Court just decided this week that it's the king. It has control of all three branches, and it will have the final say. And nobody can do anything about it. I don't know how many of you know about the Chevron doctrine, but it's about 40 years.
Yeah.
And it's a precedent. And so I just want to start this by saying those judges came into office and they all swore a solemn oath. And they all guaranteed that if the ruling that they were overseeing was based on a case that had precedent, that they would uphold precedent. And in two cases now that I can think of quite readily, Roe and the Chevron doctrine, they committed perjury. And this latest Chevron doctrine, some people call it the Chevron deference, they have ruled on this thing and negated pretty much every government agency in the United States and given it to courts. The way that this used to work is you had an issue with a chemical company dumping, there would be scientists, there would be learned people who understood what that chemical could do to the environment, what it could do to the people adjacent to that environment, and what it could do down the line to the DNA of children being born. And they were the ones that made the decisions on how they would regulate it and how they would make sure that never happened again. Well, now they're going to let some know-nothing judge in some federal court be the one that makes that decision. So they're going to listen, they say, which is BS, to both sides, and then the judge is going to make the final decision. And how did we get here? Because of overreach by government agencies. And I understand the anger of the right. I do. I understand it because I'm an herbalist, and I'm not allowed to tell my clients that what they should take to combat certain health issues because I'm not a doctor and can't prescribe. And if I do, the FDA can come after me. And if I don't mark my products as you need to speak to a physician before you use, and I can't call it medicine, I have to call it supplement. Any of these supplements, always speak to your doctor about any possible interactions, things like that. I have to mark every product like that, and our menus like that, and our website like that, because of the FDA and their overreach. And they have come after us more times than I can count. They have come after us and taken away sacred medicine, made it illegal. They have tried to regulate and take away things like comfrey and sassafras, something that we've used for centuries without any problem whatsoever, based on really no evidence. A couple of cases.
And it's not just that either. 'Cause
Yeah.
remember Rosemary's fight over fire cider?
Yes, fire cider. Yeah.
So it was trademark issues too. A corporation tried to trademark
And it's not even her recipe. It's hundreds of years old.
It's a very old familial recipe. Everybody used to make fire cider.
Yeah.
It was, recipe passed on from family generation to generation.
Absolutely.
And they tried to market it
Yeah.
at a corporate level and tried to trademark it, and were suing the herbalists
Yeah.
who are calling it what it is, fire cider.
Yeah.
So on one hand you have this big power grab, which is terrible. And the excuse, that we have is like, well, these are, experts in their field. You don't want some random judge deciding, the thickness of the metal on a nuclear cask.
Yeah, no, you don't.
You want a nuclear
That terrified me.
physicist, scientist, engineer, that kind of person to determine what the thickness of that protective casing needs to be to
Absolutely.
safeguard the public. But on the other end of things, you've had these agencies with these experts completely overreaching for years.
Absolutely.
And just making arbitrary rules that don't make a lot of sense, even when they tried to justify them.
Not at all.
Everything from, every agency.
Yeah.
And we want to talk about protecting the public. When you look at the food that's produced here,
God.
especially the processed foods,
Toxic chemical sludge.
I saw a TikTok the other day of a sandwich. It was a ham sandwich made by a major corporation. And you look at it, it looks like a normal ham sandwich, but you tilt it to the side to the ingredients, and there's 3 paragraphs that big of ingredients, all chemicals, and you start looking into those chemicals, and they're known to cause birth defects. They're known to cause cancer. They're known to cause...
Yeah.
These are the experts?
Yeah. And what about Mountain Dew? Its color is, in this country, its color is given to it by flame retardant.
Yeah.
And then if you're drinking, the energy drinks, they're using the sludge that comes off the top of sewage, human sewage.
So many of this is illegal anywhere else but the States.
Yeah.
Mountain Dew in the UK is a completely different...
Yeah, it's clear.
Natural formula, because they're not allowed to put those chemicals in.
Yeah, I don't want to drink flame retardant. I don't know about you.
So if you guys are experts and you know what you're doing and you're not on the take from corporate America, which we know you are, then...
What are you doing?
What are you doing? So now you're crying that they took your power away? Look what you did with it when you had it.
Yeah.
You weren't protecting anyone. Now, maybe there are people in those agencies that truly give a shit. I'm sure there are.
Yeah, like the EPA and...
Well, some members of it. Some members are taking money back.
Yeah, they're grabbing, Yeah. And so I understand the ire on the right, and I understand the outrage on the left, because we already know they're trying to kill us. So we were hoping the regulators would somewhat protect us, even though I think that was a false hope all the way around, because if you look at some of the studies that are being done on the colorings they put in food, they actually alter your kid's DNA.
Yeah.
They think they're pretty sure they cause autism and ADHD and all kinds of spectrum disorders. So, I mean, why are we allowing that? And if you go overseas, it can't be colored with an artificial coloring agent. It has to be colored with things like beet juice,
natural
corn
ingredients.
flour, butterfly pea flour makes a beautiful blue color.
Which have been used for centuries for making food prettier.
Yes, what we did before we had all this chemical crap.
Synthetic bullshit, and you have corporations, lobbyists, dumping bags of money, and they're effectively writing the laws in this country.
Yes, and saffrons for like yellows. There's so many things you can do, and then there's things that really gripe me, and it's why I'm part of Herbalists Without Borders to, fight the good fight to protect the native medicine and the sacred medicine, because they've tried to take comfrey away from us, and they literally almost did it. It's been something that's been used for, God, I've lost count, probably 1,000 years.
Generations.
Yeah.
Generations.
And so they tried to take that. They took sassafras off the market. That was nefarious. There's no reasoning for it. What they're saying could poison you in sassafras. God, you probably have to drink a couple 2, 3, 4, 5 55-gallon barrels for it to even affect you at its low dosage.
It's really frustrating, and it's really, with everything that happened this week, and I think we all saw that debate.
Oh my God, what a horror show.
I mean, what?
And what have I been saying for 6 months? I've been saying that they know who's going to win this election.
Yeah.
Because they haven't politicked anywhere near to the level that they did in 2020 and presidential election years past. And we haven't seen anywhere near as many debates. We haven't seen anywhere near as many events. It was at one time in 2020, one would have an event in Atlanta and the other one be across Atlanta at another stadium at the same time having their event. And the whole city would be clogged up. They didn't care, forcing their politics down our throat. And then they were on TV every time you turned around. And this year, they've hardly done any. I mean, you see them from time to time, and people say, well, they're out. They've been here, they've been there. Yes, but not to the degree that they normally go out and campaign.
Well, one side, really both sides, truthfully, are just going to do rallies with the people that already support them.
Yes.
You're not trying to
You're not even reaching for something other than your base.
The people that, we're unaffiliated.
Yeah.
You're not trying to reach us. And what exactly is your message or platform anyway? Because all I saw was 2 geriatric people arguing over golf scores and stupid shit, name calling, ad hominem attacks.
Oh, yeah.
What is that? How is that leadership in any form?
Who wants to hear that? Because it's not me.
Yeah.
I don't want to hear that bullshit. Yeah. And when I was on the debate team and when we debated, you weren't allowed to make an ad hominem attack on somebody's character or personal. Anything personal that could be even lightly considered an ad hominem attack, and you were disqualified.
Yeah.
You were out of the debate.
I mean, even attorneys, when they go, they have to argue
joke.
both sides of the case, and they have to argue it based on the structure of the case. Yeah. You have to be able to argue both sides.
Yeah,
because
absolutely.
You might be a prosecutor or you might be a defense attorney.
Absolutely.
And you need to have both. And if you're one, you need to know where the other one's coming from so you can defend.
And you need to bring receipts. You need to bring your facts.
It's just a logical thing that law schools always do.
Yeah.
And argument is the base structure of being an attorney.
Yeah.
Your argument is at its core.
Your oral argument is it. That's what everybody's going to hear. That's how the decisions will be made.
And with the majority of our politicians being attorneys,
yeah,
they should already know this, but we play this name calling, finger pointing, and politicians have always done it, but it seems to me to be really, really bad now, where we're not really even trying to reach people that maybe haven't heard of us. I'm sure we've heard of both of them, right?
Which makes you wonder, doesn't it? Yeah.
But you should be trying to get a message across, like, this is my platform, this is what I want to do. Nothing. It's just bickering, Singing Bowl.
And there he goes again.
We're just bickering. I have to talk with my hands. I'm from Michigan.
He does.
Do that. Midwesterner.
He's very animated. That's why I love him. But no, it's and people are saying, but this is a pagan podcast. This affects us all.
Absolutely.
And especially when you look at who's behind this. Since 1978 and 1981, when the plan was finally fully instituted and put into action for the Seven Mountains Mandate and that Seven Mountains Dominionist movement to put their people in positions of power across city, county, state, and federal government agencies, in the military, in the entertainment industry, in the hospitality industry, in the resort industry, to make sure that they had their people in place to make these laws and cause this upset, then that means that you and I and every one of our ilk is in danger.
Absolutely.
Because they want to make this a Christian theocracy.
If you're not a straight white male Christian,
Yeah.
We're all on the same team.
You're in danger. You're in
if you're
danger.
a person of color, if you're a pagan,
if you're an LGBTQIA person,
absolutely,
they've already done damage to them with some of their recent.
That was just the prelude.
Yeah, yeah, yes. And then they made being homeless illegal.
Yeah.
Like, it used to be that you couldn't violate their rights for, if they were sleeping in public and they call it camping. How dare they? It's the furthest thing from camping, but still, that they couldn't literally lock you up for it. They could move you along, but they couldn't lock you up. Now they can put them in jail.
Oh, and we wonder why there's so many homeless. Well, let's see.
Greed?
We keep wages low, historically low, and we're going to jack up prices so that even people that do make a decent living can barely afford anything.
Yeah.
We're going to make grocery prices high. We're going to make energy prices high.
Yeah.
Oh, you lost your house? I'm shocked.
Yeah. How the hell did that happen?
Have you seen a mortgage?
Were you being fiscally responsible?
It's and the frustration is with the American people. I mean, when we hear it every day, people are trying to find, a place to live.
Yeah.
They're having, and look, I remember my first apartment in 1990 was $350 a month.
I had a house for that.
It was a one bedroom. You could put your hands on either side of the apartment.
Yeah.
It was tiny. But that was a going rate.
Yeah.
It was $200 to $350 for a decent one bedroom. And it was okay. It had a very tiny kitchen, had one tiny bedroom. I mean, it was a place you slept.
Yeah. But it was shelter.
But, that's not even attainable.
Not now.
And I made in 1990 right about $7 an hour, something like that.
Yeah.
So right about what the minimum wage is in Pennsylvania now. It hasn't raised. And I mean, granted, there are more jobs that pay more than minimum wage, but barely.
Yeah.
So most people have to have, coming out of school, unless they come from wealthy means, which, let's face it, there aren't that many. They have to have multiple sources of income.
Yeah.
So you see the kids that are, coming out of school and they're learning to hustle, or they're living with their parents.
Yeah. With no choice. They have no avenue.
And people want to look down on them because they're judging them from their perspective of what it was in the 80s and 90s. And you're living with your parents, you're a loser. No. They've left them with little choice.
Yeah.
These kids, some of them are lazy and entitled.
Yeah.
As a cranky Gen X, I will say that.
Yeah.
But the vast majority are very hardworking.
Yeah.
And
most
really
of the ones I know have 2 or 3 jobs.
Are trying to better themselves. They're trying to start a family, or they're trying to start their career, or they're trying to just get moving forward in this world that has the deck so stacked against them, while we're seeing the 1% just get more and more wealthy, more powerful, writing laws that benefit them and screw us. And it is absolute class warfare. And yes, it's a pagan podcast. We are pagans.
Yeah.
Therefore, we're in part of that marginalized community. Do you think they're going to stop at gender?
Yeah.
Do you think they're going to stop at
sexual orientation?
Poverty? Poverty, a war on the poor?
It's a war on the poor. It is.
Again, straight white male Christian is the meta, so to speak, right?
Yeah.
And I can't tell you how many times before I open my mouth, they look at me and go, "Oh, you're one of us. Oh, you're from Michigan? That's where all the militias are."
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah, we are.
Yeah.
There are different flavors of that too, folks.
But I'm not part of yours.
Yeah, no.
And I think having a diversified culture exposure as I was growing up helped.
Yeah.
You see a lot of that us versus them attitude with people that have never lived anywhere else before.
Yeah.
They've never been...
They've been in their bubble.
Exposed to other cultures. And it was a very big learning experience doing that, and it opened your eyes. It's like travel, right? Was it Mark Twain that said travel is the biggest enemy to bigotry? I'm paraphrasing.
Yeah.
But it's true, because when you spend time with other people from different walks of life, different backgrounds, it's such a huge eye-opening thing that, I mean, it'll cause you to pause.
Yeah.
Like, I was brought up to believe this. I was brought up to think this. It's like the propaganda in America about other countries.
Yeah.
And, oh, don't go there. That's a quote-unquote shithole. But then when you go
it's
there...
very dangerous.
You're like, what?
What are they talking about?
This place is amazing.
Yeah.
The people are so kind.
Yeah.
And you start to look sideways at everything that's been told to you.
Yeah.
You know, and then you start to realize, especially in your 50s, when you look back at the educational system that's been formed, on just how much of a model for creating good worker bee employees it is. Even the bells are similar to the bells at the factories.
Absolutely.
The brakes, you know, and I think I read somewhere that it was actually invented by, was it Ford or some Rockefeller?
Yeah.
I don't remember who.
I believe it was a kind of a gathering of minds from Rockefeller and Henry Ford. And Betsy DeVos is now trying to really bring it about. But it's already been done. The poisoning of the mind of the American child that's being educated in American schools has already occurred because they're taught to do everything by rote, as expected.
Yeah.
And not to think critically. Like, I've been asking people for a while now, do your kids bring home logic problems anymore? You remember when we used to have to bring them home and work them over a weekend because they were really long word logic problems? Like, the simple ones are like, the train leaves Cincinnati at blah, 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 and the car leaves New York at blah, 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 blah. Who's going to get there first, traveling at, 55? Yeah. And those were the simple ones, or the simple ones about the apples and the oranges, and Sally has 25.
Why does Sally have 25 melons?
You're right, and how the hell did she carry 25 melons by herself?
Sally had 2 melons to start with. How did she get 25? I don't know.
And I mean, but they don't do that anymore. They don't teach logic, critical thinking. I doubt that most kids today going to school know the truth about the end of World War II or how Russia saved our ass and lost 27 million in the balance. Yeah. I doubt they know that. Yeah. And that used to be our ally.
And we use the word propaganda to refer to our enemies.
Yeah.
Oh, that's Russian propaganda. That's back in the war. That was German propaganda. Blah, blah, blah. Yeah, it was propaganda. Well, what do you think the 10,000 drug commercials that you see?
Yes. Oh my God.
In the little tiny fine print may cause your head to fall off. Yeah. But that's perfectly legal.
May cause leaking.
Don't take comfrey.
Yeah. Yeah. This one may cause bladder leaking. No, thank you. I get that because I was pregnant. I don't need any help with that.
Or the structured news that we get from mainstream media, absolutely, cut and edited and presented in a certain way.
Oh, yeah.
To make you react a certain way.
And if you go from channel to channel to channel, whether it be Fox News, MSNBC, CNN, whatever, and you look at the recorded versions of those on your backup on your DVR or they don't have a DVR anymore. I'm old, but look at it and go back and stream it, and look at the mark on the hour at the minute that they said it, and then go to the next channel. Look at the mark on the hour at the minute that they said it. They're all saying the same things. It's actually the same script with a different inflection.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And a lot of it's designed, one, to make their message go out across all the platforms, but and to shape hearts and minds. But two, to keep us going after each other instead of looking up.
We should be turning on them in full force right now. We should be dragging them into the streets.
And we've said it before, you feel powerless as a citizen because what can I do with this? Who am I? I'm just some schmuck in Pennsylvania.
And especially when it's engineered the way it is, and it's been in the works since 1981, and so the only redress is Congress coming together.
And look at our Congress.
And if you think that's ever going to happen with this Congress, that was intended. Yeah. So they knew that the Supreme Court was going to rule on these things this way, because that's why they put them into the court. That's why they wanted those 5 there.
Yeah.
And John, who I used to think was kind of a moderate, is a devious asshole. Yeah. Okay.
They go where the money goes.
Yeah, they do. And they do. Yeah. And that's the reason this whole thing has been engineered by the Seven Mountains Mandate. These conspiracy...
And you're inundated with the shit so that you become so frustrated that I just don't follow politics.
Yeah, and people get fatigued.
I just don't follow politics.
Yeah, it's terrible.
I don't care. And that's the plan.
Yeah. So now we got things like Marjorie Trailer Park Green and
Fucking dumbass.
Lauren. I jacked the guy off in the theater Bobert in front of little children, but all family values and Christian values.
Yeah, well, it's
we got
typical.
those two nut bars
Typical.
and another. God, I can't even. I've lost track of the
How
nut
many,
bars.
how many Bertha Better Than Yous in the Amen Pew?
Yeah.
How many times have we seen it?
Yeah.
You know.
Yeah. Well, she was
it's-
giving hand jobs in the.
It's such an old story, you know, and it repeated over
Yeah.
generation. All of these hand-wringing, self-righteous.
Yeah. How many times have we seen a senator, a male senator, go after LGBTQ people, and then you find out that he's been sleeping with men while he's married to a woman and has kids, and that comes to light, and they're still going after these people,
Or
You know,
representatives that'll pay for their mistress to get an abortion,
yeah,
but
we'll tell the lady she can't.
a mother in an ectopic pregnancy. Sorry.
Yeah.
Fuck you.
Too bad. Die.
You know.
Yeah. It's
if
like
we-
a Marvel. It's like a bad Marvel movie.
If we imposed our religious beliefs as law, they wouldn't like that very much.
No.
You know, but we don't, because we don't give a fuck what you believe. You know, and that's most pagans.
Yeah.
This is a personal thing for us. This is a self-guided journey.
Yeah.
You know, right or wrong, whether we do it right or wrong or get it right once in a while. It doesn't matter. It's about personal growth and personal attainment and lifting yourself up.
And remember, that's why they hate you, because
Yeah.
you have no masters.
Yeah, well, and that's one thing, because it threatens the validity of the Abrahamic teachings.
Mm-hmm.
And that, no, you have to go out and witness to your neighbor. You have to bring them into the fold. And that is so fucking self-righteous. But they don't realize that most of these people are just doing it because they feel a sense of urgency that's been put in their heads. You know, like, I need to do the right thing. I need to help them. So many of them are not malicious.
Yeah.
Like, I'll pray for you.
Yeah. They're sweethearts.
I had a relative.
They actually mean it.
Tell me today. I mean,
Yesterday.
My biological daughter's birthday was the 28th. I've been estranged from her for decades because of the bullshit her mother did.
Yep.
And
May you suffer.
every time I've tried to connect, I get blocked. Anytime other people try to connect on my behalf, they get blocked. You know, and it's frustrating.
Yeah. And you paid more than your fair share in child support.
Oh, 20 years of it.
And you held joint custody. And the law wouldn't help him because she moved to another state. And so they were going to require us, instead of doing their damn jobs, and this is one of the reasons the right gets so mad with regulators and they get so mad with the system.
I completely get that.
Is because she had moved to another state. So we were going to be required to have an attorney in both states.
She
It
fled
cost
to
me
another state.
$10,000
Yeah. They were investigating her.
to fight this.
They were investigating her because they had to pay us back for double and triple dipping on child support. I was paying $750 a month
For one child.
when I got paid 3 times a month, $500 and some dollars when I got paid twice a month working for the state of Michigan.
Yeah.
For one child in the 90s.
Yeah.
I made $10.50 an hour.
Yeah. Yeah. It's disgusting. It's disgusting. And you had joint custody.
Joint legal custody.
And they would not see to your rights and see that they were served.
You know, and she's the one that ran around. She's the one that assaulted me.
Yeah. With a baby in your arms.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And
Yeah.
she got away with it.
Oh, yeah.
Came home from work, the house was empty, stole all the shit out of the house, and then fled the state.
Yeah.
And so I have a daughter with a poisoned mind, you know, that...
And they're very, very fundamentalist Christians.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah. So you can see the
if you
machinations
don't
there.
fit the mold, then you're ass out.
Mm-hmm.
And, you know, the only reason they haven't come for us yet is we're not top tier on their target list.
Yeah. Yeah.
Well, we will be.
Yeah. Oh, yeah.
You know, and we really need to you know, I get it. The temptation to bury your head in the sand. I get that.
And the temptation to think your vote doesn't count.
Yeah, and that's what they want you to feel that way. They can bombard you with this shit.
But one more time, I want to remind you, those local elections that you negate voting in, those people that are elected to those positions then become senators, congressmen, They're your representatives. They go on to the state level and then the federal level. Because that's the aim of anybody that goes into politics, is to ascend to where they can either do the most good or the most damage.
But what I was talking about before I got off track with Addie was I had a relative reach out to me on Facebook, and I don't remember ever meeting this person, but they're a family member, but Christian. Most all of my biological family is very fundamentalist Christian. And she said, "I'm so sorry this is happening, and we hate that she was taken from you and taken from us."
Yeah.
And she said, "I'm lifting you up in prayer."
Yeah.
Now, 20 years ago, as a young angry pagan,
yeah, it would have bothered you.
I'm going to told her where to put her prayer.
Yeah.
50-year-old me, a little older, a little creakier.
Understanding love is love.
And a little understanding is that there was no malice in that. Mm-hmm. That was genuine.
That was earnest.
Praying, for peace, praying that I appreciated it. I told her that. I said, thank you very much.
Yeah.
I'm not going to take offense as somebody from a different religion that maybe would demonize me. Yeah. Which she never has. But a lot do in that, because you're not like them. You don't give them the validation that they're on the right part because you're refusing to be part of it. So therefore, there might be something wrong. But no, I truly appreciate it, and that meant something. And it makes you pause and you go, wow, I've grown up a little bit. Yeah. Because there was a time I was really angry.
Me too.
Really angry. Because,
like I was in a tech dog with 21 years in theology and could argue your damn book with you all day long.
I am here to hurt your feelings.
Yeah.
You started it. I'm going to finish it.
Yep. Don't start now, won't be now.
Now it's not like that.
No.
And I'm grateful for the growth. We have so many Christian customers that come in.
Love them.
And like legitimately true practitioners. Yeah. Like I have,
and we've grown enough to understand that the Psalms is a big old spell book.
I have no qualms with Jesus. I think Jesus was awesome.
Yeah, he was. Yeah.
Oh my God, whatever this form of Christianity being practiced and used,
you forget he lied down
and maligned by our politicians,
prostitutes, and then downtrodden and the thieves, and he considered them his, and family, and
whatever they're using right now as a shield.
Yeah.
The whole Trump Bibles and what? That is not the message.
That's the King James Version.
That is not the message. That is not the behavior of someone who follows those teachings. Yeah. 90% of the people that come through our door do exhibit that.
Yeah.
I like to call myself a Christian witch. Okay.
They walk in that light. They do.
Completely get that. And you have people that call you on the phone. I want to bless my house, but I'm Christian. How do I do this? Yeah. I'm like, it's easy.
Yep.
The same modus operandi that we use.
Yeah.
Banishment, blessing, opening your doors and your windows, pushing all the ick out, and then shutting it up and circling it into a sanctuary.
Yes.
The only difference is I'm calling on Blood Awaith and you're calling on Jesus and the Holy Spirit. It's whatever deity that you ascribe to, whatever gives you peace, whatever, it doesn't matter.
Not at all.
And that's the way we should be.
Yeah.
We shouldn't be at each other's throat if we don't believe exactly the same thing. It doesn't matter. It doesn't matter. And wars have been fought. So many wars.
Over this stupidity.
So much loss of life.
And it is. It's ignorance.
Over, you don't believe what I... Yeah. Motherfucker, stay in your lane.
Mm-hmm.
Stay in your lane. I don't push anything, any belief that I have on anything, on anyone, because one, I don't give a fuck what you believe.
And I want to remind
And two, I respect the fact that you can believe whatever you want.
And I want to remind some of these people that are touting this Seven Mountains Mandate theology, this ugly heinousness, love thy neighbor as thyself. You sorry fucks.
Yeah. I mean, it's if I was Christian, I would be even angrier than I am now of these people using my faith to justify their malicious acts.
Yes.
And they are malicious acts. You're writing laws based on some doctrine that affects everyone.
Yeah.
That's malice.
Absolutely.
That's malice.
And if you're going to bang that King James Version, maybe you should read Matthew. Start at chapter 5, verse 5.
Yeah.
Get back to me.
Yeah.
Yeah.
That was the one about don't go out in public like the hypocrites.
Yes.
Yeah.
That relationship between you and whatever it is you call God is sacred.
Absolutely.
And should be private and personal. And it's not anybody else's damn business, nor do they want to freaking hear about it. That's like telling somebody about the boil on your ass. They don't want to hear about it.
That's why we don't.
Unless they're your doctor.
We don't do public rituals.
Yeah. Yeah.
And no shade on those that do, if whatever. But in our traditions, we don't.
No.
And it's not a gatekeeping thing. It's to keep it sacred.
Yes.
We don't do public rituals. We don't take photographs mid-ritual.
No.
We don't, if you have a ritual fire, you may take, like I put a quick video of post-ritual fire.
Yeah.
But not during the ritual.
Not during, never.
It's sacred.
Yes.
It's sacred. And I see it every day on Instagram. What do you guys see in this? Okay. What do you see in it? Because
it's
that's
meant
what
for you.
That's what matters.
Yeah. Yeah.
And I have told, I don't know how many people that come in, they come in thinking people have powers, people have gifts. Mm-hmm. People may have inclinations to be better at different things. I completely subscribe to that. Some people are just better at shit than other people.
Yeah.
It boils down to that.
Yeah.
But when you start calling them gifts,
or powers,
or
like it's Harry Potter
like it's
or Charmed.
a Hollywood program,
yeah.
you have the wrong idea. Mm-hmm. This and I want an object that gives me power. None of these objects give you power on their own.
No.
They're like supplements to an exercise regimen.
Tools.
Yeah. And everything in the store is just made to enhance the experience that stems from you, from your heart.
It's to focus you. Yeah.
And if that object makes you feel stronger or makes you feel better or it inspires you to do better or more, then good. But it's a very personal thing.
Yes.
It stems from the self. And we have preached on this. And people still, my friend has gifts.
Yeah. And I will tell you.
Go ahead.
I will tell you, straight to your face that what I have is not a gift. It's a curse. Because they show me things that are on the world stage that me as a peon, I can't do fuck all about. I don't have any say-so. I don't have any power to get that into the right hands, the right people, and have them see what I saw. And I've said these things out loud to my family, and they've played out right in front of them, no matter how much they foo-fooed me. Dreams and visions, like I get taken out of my body.
Yeah.
And I see these things happening. I see the actual event happening. And I try to scream about it and I try to yell about it. And every time I've been called a nut bar. And then it plays out right in front of them. It may be months, it may be years later. That's not a fucking gift. That's a curse.
Yeah.
That's a curse. Because then I'm in terror waiting for when it's going to happen, knowing it's going to happen, not able to do a damn thing about it. That's not a gift. That's not a gift.
I know kind of what they mean by when they say gifts.
Yeah.
And it's just a word used to denote that they have an inclination or they have leanings. When you have a child and that child suddenly has an interest in things, that
they couldn't possibly know about. Yeah.
Yeah. Children are so much closer to source, right?
Yep.
They just got here.
Yeah.
It hasn't been programmed into them yet that this is hooey, some of them remember things.
Their switch hasn't been turned
off.
on.
Look at so many prodigies.
Yeah.
They just automatically sit down and play the Rock 3.
Yeah.
While everybody else is learning chopsticks.
Exactly.
It's a natural inclination. And we can surmise that it's a past life. We can surmise that. Do we really have any evidence? I don't know.
Yeah.
But to me, it's kind of symbolic of that, maybe personally, I think maybe you had those skills in a previous incarnation and it's just a natural thing for you. Some people are just naturally good at things.
Oh, yeah.
And we should encourage that, and work on the things maybe that we're not natural at. That's the difficult part.
Exactly.
But back to the main point where you have so many people of the Abrahamic faith and those faiths are being maligned and misconstrued and used with pure malice to control everyone.
Yeah.
To try to force feed everyone, like the 10 Commandments thing in Louisiana.
Yeah. Or what happened in Iowa.
Yeah.
They're having to teach the Bible in classes now.
Yeah.
Listen, I don't know how many of the younger generations out here remember what Iran was like before we overthrew them in a coup and installed a leader that was, well, the Ayatollah. But before that happened in the 1970s, women were free there.
Oh, yeah.
They'd be in hot pants. They held positions. They taught at universities. They drove. They were in corporate. They were in power, and they were in full control of their lives. And I want you to take a long look at them now, because this is what this group of people in our country wants to do to us.
It's a theocracy.
Yeah. And so I want you to go back and I want you to study. Don't take my word for it. You can find the pictures of pre-1978 Iran, I believe it is.
Afghanistan, too.
And Afghanistan. And look at how free those countries were. And you asked, but what's the aim? Well, if you can control the populace, you can control the minerals, you can control what's under the soil, you can control what's in the waters, you can control what's in the air. And that means dollars.
And that power is in a very small group of people.
Yes. Yeah.
The money is in a small group of people while the rest of the population is exploited.
I saw something today that I really liked, a meme about that, and it said, let's normalize not calling them billionaires. Let's normalize calling them wealth hoarders.
Or oligarchs.
Yeah.
That's what they are.
Yeah, they are oligarchs. And we've got our own.
No one becomes a billionaire that's honest.
Yeah, no.
I mean, I don't know how many people can actually fathom just how much money $1 billion is. I mean.
And how many yachts do you fucking need? You're only one person.
It's so obscene.
Yeah.
And they look out their window and you got somebody sleeping on the streets, which now they made illegal.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. Now they can arrest you for that.
And I'm the first to admit that these agencies, a lot of them went too far.
Absolutely.
Or they misinterpreted things.
Like
or they took money.
The constitutional right to bear arms. And then they decided at some person in charge over there decided that Randy was collecting too many weapons.
Oh, I know. That's horrendous.
And I'm like, that's ridiculous. Who gets to make that decision if the Constitution says you have the right? And if it doesn't say that you can only own X amount. Like, if you go to England, you can't have handguns, but you can own X amount of hunting weapons. Mm-hmm. But you can only own so many. But that doesn't appear anywhere in our country.
No.
In any document. And
it's government intruding on people.
Yeah. It's egregious intrusion. It's terrible.
But what we saw this past couple weeks, makes that just like, oh my God, what?
Yeah.
And, the only real legal recourse
is Congress.
Is Congress. And have you seen our Congress?
And they can't pass any goddamn thing. I mean, nothing.
They're the biggest bunch of clowns I've ever seen in my life.
It is a travesty. I am freaking embarrassed.
Yeah.
I mean, like, I'm not the smartest person in the room, okay? But I expect...
You are here.
No, I don't think so. But I expect my representatives...
Right this second you are.
No, I'm not. He's so full of shit. He's massaging my ego because he wants something later.
I don't want shit. I just want air conditioning, and I got it.
You got it. All right. Yeah, all right, fine. No, it's. I want whoever is representing me at that level to be yards and yards smarter than me. Like, I want you to be extremely intelligent. I want to be able to look up to you and think that you know what you're doing.
Yeah.
And that I'm safe with the decisions you're making.
Well, everybody, I'm sure has worked for a stupid fucking boss.
Yes.
Like, even smart bosses, people call stupid when they do dumb shit. But I mean, like, this is like another level of stupid.
Yes. And know they got that position through nepotism.
Like, how the fuck are you even employed? And the crazy shit that's coming out of your mouth.
Yeah.
We've all worked for those.
Yeah.
Fucking morons. And the stupidity crosses every age group.
Yeah.
It doesn't We love to say boomers. No.
No.
I've seen people from my generation, the generations below, dumber than a bag of hammers.
Oh, my God. Just
no way deserving
so in their bubble
of being in charge of anything. And they're in charge of millions of dollars from a corporate. So this is what it's like. Like, we're all working for the fucking dumbass.
Yeah.
That can't find his own ass with two hands. And we're supposed to be proud of that.
And
when
now
they
that's
show
in
up.
charge of our country. That is in charge of our country.
I mean, the fuck?
And then you got the other side who's got their monkey.
You know, and we've all seen The Handmaid's Tale.
Yeah. And
I wasn't expecting the sequel to be worse.
it's literally, I'm living that, what was that movie where Viggo Mortensen played Lucifer?
God, that's a way back.
And he said, I just love talking monkeys or something like that. Now, that's what we're seeing. He said, and I'm like, fucking talking monkeys.
Yeah.
On both sides of the damn aisle.
Well, they've sold themselves
We're doomed.
out. They've sold themselves to the highest bidder.
Yeah.
And, you know, the people that depend on them to make good decisions are left in the wayside.
Yeah.
You know, families are struggling. You know, I grew up in the 70s. I remember the gas crisis. I remember all these things that we lived through.
Oh, shit, yeah.
You know, gas, because of the embargo, was so expensive. There were lines every day to the gas station.
Lines.
People were getting in fights. It was a scary time.
Yeah, people were pushing their cars.
You know, and the
running out of gas,
trucker
right?
strikes, remember that? And this is all from
Yeah, of course I remember Dad got shot at.
bad decisions made by people that shouldn't be making any kind of decision.
Yeah.
And the rest of us pay the price.
So I know the kids don't remember that. But I want to give you something that maybe you can relate to so you can see what's coming. Was what they did yesterday or this week. It's not been yesterday, it's been 2 days ago. Negated the EPA. It just they made eunuchs out of them. This past year, when the Canadian fires, the smoke was hanging over New York City skyline.
Yeah.
In 1970, New York City skyline, California skyline, Chicago skyline, all of those places, you couldn't really see the sky. It was all reddish brown smog.
Yeah.
Well, if you want to know the truth, that was every day. It didn't lift. That was because there were no rules to keep the air clean.
Yeah.
Now that's done again, and here we go. So what you saw last year of the reddish brown skies hanging over the New York City skyline from the Canadian fires and here, and the problems we all had breathing, those are coming back to you thanks to this U.S. Supreme Court decision.
I would like to
Chevron
see them
deference.
bring one of the justices or whoever wrote this opinion before Congress and televise it.
Yeah.
And just start reading off a list of questions that are something an industry expert
Would know.
or a scientist would be able to answer very quickly and
Yeah.
accurately.
Yeah, and see how they do.
And let's just see how much of an expert they are.
Yeah.
So what is the mill size of the, you know, nuclear rod cask that we're transporting across the country?
Absolutely.
How thick does the metal have to be to keep the public safe? Do you know now?
What is the
Right off top
density
your head?
of the lead?
Because
The lead line.
they know.
Yeah, yeah.
They know how thick it has to be because they've done tests,
Yes.
right? And there's scientific evidence to back up their facts.
Yeah.
But you decided you know better than them.
Yeah, so we can go thinner. It won't hurt anybody. Yeah. It's terrifying. And when you reminded me of that this morning, because my heart was still stuck on, you know, how it affected us, which is how most people are, and how it was going to affect, you know, monetary things and the FAA and the EPA, because that's a big deal of mine. How that was going to affect those things. And then he said the three letters, I just fell apart and cried, literally in the living room. Because we both worked for the nuclear, in the nuclear business. We both worked at the largest nuke plant on the East Coast, who is now one of the largest storage areas for spent fuel on the East Coast. We take everybody's spent fuel there. And when he said that, I just kind of put my head in my hands. It was horrible.
Yeah.
I'm terrified.
Yeah.
Okay? Because that's my joy and my love. I love that place. And I'll be honest with you, if I could go back today, I'd go. I just adored her.
Yeah.
And we took so much pride in how clean she was. and how, she was a well-oiled machine. We were testing every hour on the hour.
Oh, yeah.
Several times a day we tested water. We were always testing air. Everybody was on the lookout for a hot particle. We were fanatics about it because she came through the hell after 3 Mile Island and all that. And still, she was still finished. She was still built, and she was still put online.
I can't think of any agency more regulated than the nuclear industry.
Yeah.
And for good reason. For good reason.
Dog farted, and I'm dying.
Oh, yeah. She's paint melting right now.
Oh, my God.
But you have to be. You have to be. And if you are in the nuclear industry, you're pretty much at the pinnacle of your field, whatever that field may be. So if you're a nuclear welder, you're the best of the best. Best of the best. If you're a nuclear maintenance person that does the maintenance on the equipment, you're the best of the best. Same with security. Same with anything. Because you have to be. There's no room for error.
Yeah, you're basically special forces training.
It's a tough job. Yeah. And it's a tough thing to keep your job because I know in security we had 17 qualifications we had to maintain. Yeah. You only got 2 guaranteed chances to retake it. One was up to them whether they decided you were worthy or not. Yeah. It was tough. It was hard. And it was for good reason because the public depends on you to do your job correctly. I mean, we would bring in a cask of rods from another facility. And I'm not going to go into the particulars, obviously.
Yeah, no, can't.
But let's just say there were a lot of guns in the woods to protect that thing. Oh, yeah. And there was a whole host of procedures to do to make sure, one, that it got across the country safely, and 2, that it got entered into the facility safely, and the rest of the procedures done. It was like a very well orchestrated series of maneuvers that there was no room for error, and they had no patience for people if they even started to make an error.
No, you were done.
It was very strict for good reason. And so now you're taking, and all of those regulations and procedures were created and monitored by the Nuclear Regulatory Commission for good reason. There's a reason for every policy. Right. Oh, yeah. And so now you have some judge who is not elected, who is going to make decisions and has the ultimate say on every one of those policies. Yeah. That's terrifying.
It is terrifying. So absolutely horrifying.
We can argue that a lot of agencies, the 3-letter agencies, have done some heinous fucking shit.
They've done a lot of overreach, and that's been the problem. And that's what caused this.
And yeah. That's true. But all in all,
they were keeping your children safe.
People were put into those positions because they had the qualifications to perform those duties.
They had the education, the understanding. Yeah.
And
they were the best of the best.
It's one person. Appointed. Yeah. We don't pick the judges. Yeah. Those are appointed positions. Yeah. And now they have 100% of the say so. Yeah. On what any policy or procedure is. That is terrifying.
And what's so bad is when you think about, there's a lot of judges out there that don't even practice law. They just interpret law.
Yeah. There's a lot of judges that wouldn't qualify as an attorney.
Yeah. How do you interpret law if you don't practice law? It never made any sense to me why that was allowed. Because then you have no working knowledge.
So what do? Right? So you're a normal everyday American like us. We're just normal people. We're nothing special. Yeah. And we're just as powerless feeling as anyone else. And we talked about voting, and we talked about voting locally, and all that's true. Yeah. But in the back of your mind, you start to see the way things are going. And, you may have dismissed it over the years. You have friends that are preppers. What the fuck is wrong with you? Yeah. You have 3,000 fucking MREs, 20,000 rounds of ammo. Half your house is dedicated to it. Everybody laughs at them.
But now you see why.
Until the shit goes tits up, and you're like, hey, can I borrow some mac and cheese? Yeah. 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 So.
Or, there'll be those in the neighborhood who are thinking about hitting that house.
Maybe these people, doing sustainable living are not quite as crazy as maybe a lot of people thought.
Yeah.
Right. Maybe now's the time to start thinking about what ifs.
Oh, yes.
What would you do? Where would you go?
Who would you lean on?
And, people
Who can you trust?
are just leaving the country. Okay, well, where?
Yeah, because we've looked.
Where?
We've looked.
It's very more difficult in some than others, but it's still a challenge to get citizenship anywhere else.
Yeah.
If you don't have direct blood relatives within
And the political
one
upheaval in
generation.
those places is just as bad, if not worse, than
Very
it is
bad.
here.
Very bad.
Yeah.
The grass is not always greener.
No.
And then we've had friends try to move out and homestead and found that even though you're miles away from the closest people,
They can still make your life a living
The environment
hell.
is still so hostile. Environment, speaking of the people in that environment, you have to start thinking about, sustainability.
Yeah.
Where are you going to get your meds? What happens if the grid fails? What happens, and you don't want to fall into that rabbit hole of conspiracy theory and letting it take over your life, where you become a tinfoil hat wearer club member, but at the same time,
With extreme trepidation, we thought what path we would take out of here if we had to.
yeah.
Yeah.
I mean,
What if it does become the Handmaid's Tale?
I never thought I would think about things like that because all the militia friends, people I knew from Michigan, were so balls deep into it.
Yeah.
That I always thought they were like, okay, Steve.
Yeah. Your light bulb is like blinking. Yeah.
But I don't know.
Are they so far-fetched?
Because never in a million years would I think I would see what I've seen in the past, 7 or 8 years.
Yeah.
And
I would
especially
say in the
last
past decade or so.
Yeah.
Because I never expected to see my elected officials act like teenagers in high school.
No, I get it. We're
Yeah.
old people, right?
Yeah.
We're from the 1900s after all.
Yeah, you
Me
little
and my-
bastard.
Me and my pet dinosaurs. And so old people always go, well, they're going to roll in here anytime, blah,
Yep.
blah, blah. And, I've always been the one to go, okay, whatever. What do you want from McDonald's?
But they do it every 100 to 125 years. They do it.
And it's...
They revolt.
It's,
Yeah.
it's you keep holding out hope that the smart people in the room will finally stand up.
Yeah.
But there aren't very many smart people in the room. And that's to me is the most terrifying thing when you see both sides of the table arguing and trading petty insults and throwing temper tantrums and basically being fucking morons when they're supposed to be looking out for those of us that don't have the power to speak.
It's terrifying. When those are your representatives.
I've never been more embarrassed of a government.
I'm not proud to be an American.
I wish I could say otherwise. I do. I
Yeah.
really want to be. I come from military family.
Yes, me too.
Law enforcement
Daddy's
family.
101st. Yeah.
Kind of born into that.
Yeah.
Right. But looking at things with a realistic lens, it's really tragic to see the stupidity on display every day and to be inundated on television with propaganda and drug commercials, and there's nothing that you can even believe.
No. I feel like I'm in the reality TV version of the movie Idiocracy.
It's exhausting.
Yeah.
It's exhausting. And it's like, where do you even get a source of information that isn't tainted by the touch of propaganda?
Yeah.
Yeah, it's just the facts.
Yeah.
Can we just get the facts?
No, you're never going to get those.
And people from our generation and beyond, boomers, we came up in the era of Walter Cronkite.
Yeah.
We came up in the era of the Fairness Doctrine.
Yeah.
We had news at 6
Yeah.
and 11.
Yeah.
That was,
was
it.
it. Yeah.
And if you missed it, you fucking missed it.
Yep.
And that
Now we have the 24-hour news cycle.
and
Most get clicks.
it's a business.
Yeah.
It's a business.
Yeah.
Just like this debate was owned whole and total by CNN.
Yeah. Did you hear either one of those fucking moderators ask them, pin them down, and ask them to qualify an answer. That's their job.
Not once. You know, we saw, what's his name, Kyle Clark in Colorado. If you have not seen Kyle Clark moderate a debate,
oh, he's amazing.
Please look him up on YouTube. That is what a debate moderator is supposed to look like.
Absolutely.
He did not let any bullshit pass. He called them on their shit.
Yeah.
Forced them to answer the question when they try to deflect.
Yeah.
Didn't allow any of that shit. That was the best example of a debate moderator I have seen in decades.
When they start off in another direction, you stop them immediately and you go, that's not the question I asked. Mm-hmm. Let's return to the question, please. That's not the question I asked.
And I mean, absolutely nonpartisan.
Yeah, yeah.
He wasn't.
Yeah.
Nothing.
No.
It was neutral party. No, you don't get to say that. No, you don't get to deflect that. And you didn't answer the question.
Yeah.
Yes, but you didn't answer the question. Because the whole deflect shit is allowed to happen. The whole ad hominem attacks is allowed to happen. And it's disgusting to watch.
And I want people to go back and watch the old debates. You're leaking. I want people to go back and watch the old debates that are like decades ago. So you can see what a real one is supposed to look like. Because there are rules. And nobody is following them these days because those don't get clicks.
No. It's all about engagement.
Sensationalism.
Let's get people talking. Let's get people engaged. Let's get them angry at each other and trolling each other in the comments. All the troll comments and all the responses back just lead to more engagement, More advertiser dollars are going to flow in. That's all it's about.
Yeah.
We're taking something as important as the leader of the free world and turning it into a sideshow circus so that we can get ratings.
Yeah. It makes Barnum and Bailey look tame.
The news used to be about the news.
Yeah.
The news, the facts. We're just standing or sitting at a desk in front of you, reading off what happened today. You make your own opinion about it.
Yeah.
You always see now, even like DJs, they give their opinion.
Yeah.
We're giving you our opinion here.
Yeah.
Our opinion is that it doesn't fucking matter.
Yeah.
Your opinion is what matters. But in order to form an opinion, you just need a neutral set of facts to go off. And so many of people of our generation and older think that what they see on any of these programs, I don't care if you watch Fox News, CNN, they think that those are facts.
Yeah.
And they're not.
They're not.
They are curated facts.
Yes.
What do they call them? Alternative facts.
Alternative facts,
What the fuck?
Yeah.
You know,
it's disgusting.
They repealed the Fairness Doctrine. The Fairness Doctrine was where a story had to be vetted.
Yeah.
More than one source.
Reagan did away with that.
It had to be, it had to be a factual thing to put on TV, or you could get in some serious legal consequence.
Yeah.
They did away with it.
Now they can say whatever the hell they want.
So I mean, it's a talk show.
Yeah.
It's entertainment. The news is entertainment, and it should never be that. And so many of us watch it. And then we instantly get mad at their triggering words that we forget that most of that stuff is misconstrued, or they'll edit it. Like that one of, and I don't like Biden, but you see Biden walking off into the distance at that military, whatever the fuck it was. Like, look at him, he's lost.
Yeah.
That's the way they edited the video.
Yeah.
Because if you see the original video, he was walking over to talk to somebody.
Yeah.
But they cut that part out, so you just see him.
Yeah. They do this
wandering
constantly
around to support their narrative.
And both sides do it.
And now you have deep fakes going on,
deep
right?
fakes are awful.
AI
They're
being used for malicious purposes. And AI is a very slippery slope, guys.
So for the older people out there, the deep fake works and they overlay the voice.
Yeah.
And so it perfectly matches the face. And they use outtakes from the person's speeches and stuff like that to craft a brand new narrative and overlay it onto the video. And so it literally looks like they're saying that. So the AI mimics the facial movements, everything, and they take these speeches and they part them out and they make them say whatever it is they want them to say, and then they run that up the pole.
And all of these are just tools to control the narrative.
Yeah.
We got to control what the public is thinking.
Yeah.
We got to keep the public angry and fighting at each other so that we can continue on doing our shit. Mm-hmm. That's basic video game strategy.
Yes.
We're playing Helldivers 2 now.
Yes.
So one of us will go anger all the bugs or the bots or whatever and get them all mad at you, and you run in big circles, right? Mm-hmm. Just like a politician, running in big circles and all of them trying to kill you, and they're angry. And while the other person on the team goes over and closes all the bug holes, unobstructed, right? You have no resistance because everybody's chasing the other person.
Yeah.
That's kind of what's happening in politics. And it's kind of what's happening in so many things, so many aspects of our country.
Yeah.
Because we're all chasing the one kiting it. We call it kiting, right?
Yeah.
Make them mad, get aggro, and run around in big circles.
And I can kite like a mofo.
You know? But here, in the public space, we need to make them stop.
Yeah.
And stop fighting each other and getting so angry at each other, trying to force everyone to your point of view. We need to hold them to account.
Yes.
And the only way to do that right now is to vote. Vote with your wallet. Vote in your local and small elections, and vote in the federal elections.
Yeah.
And people are like, my vote don't fucking matter, blah, blah, blah. Yeah, the fuck it does.
Yeah, it does.
Yeah, the fuck it does.
Yeah, it does. You want them to see the will of the people.
Yeah.
You want them to see your will. Let them see it. Especially us magic users. Let them see your will.
Mm-hmm.
Seriously.
Yeah.
I mean that in every way you think I mean that.
I'm just saying it may be time to invest in some roosters.
Yes. Absolutely.
Just saying.
I want some cow tongues. Can somebody bring me some cow tongues?
Fuck, I'm bringing you the whole fucking cow.
Yeah.
I'm with so many of us that are just so exhausted. We're overworked. We're underpaid. And
we're barely making it, people.
It's trying to get fight. By, and you sit down in your hot fucking house because you can't afford air conditioning. And you're eating your food from Aldi's because you can't fucking afford it from anywhere else. And you're looking at bills you can't pay.
Yeah, and you're making choices in which ones you do pay.
You turn on the news for some hope, and it's two dipshits yelling at each other.
Meanwhile, we're the only nation in the world that does credit scores, and they do that to keep us down.
And you think about going somewhere else.
Yeah.
You look into that a little bit. It's worse than here. And look at the visa requirements.
Yeah.
And we got plenty of time. What are you tapping your watch for?
Because you've been on here a while.
Well, we've been on here an hour and 6 minutes.
An hour and 6 minutes.
I'm just getting warmed up. I'm a cranky Gen Xer.
He will pontificate.
I got lots to bitch about.
He doesn't realize that I have to go tinkle.
Oh, you'll be all right. Discipline.
Yeah, I'll pee on your foot. Yeah.
I guess, I don't know. I just don't let yourself fall into despair.
No, please don't. We have avenues to redress this grievance too.
And there's always, look.
And yet for a time it may hurt us.
What do they say? This too shall pass?
Yeah, this too shall pass.
Right?
Stand your ground.
So a lot of it hedges on your reaction to it or your non-reaction to it.
Because sometimes that's all they're looking for is a reaction.
And you have to remember that just about everything coming through our phones, our computers, our televisions is sensationalist for a reason. And it's to elicit a response from you.
Yeah.
And
please look at both sides.
Usually it's a response against another poor person.
Yeah. Yeah. Why are you beating up on another poor person?
It's not about looking at the people that are actually pulling the strings of this puppet show.
And don't run, guys. Don't run. I've felt like I wanted to leave this country too. But every time I go and I look really in depth, and John and I do this a lot at other countries where we could sell everything we own and move to and live cheaper than we do. Then you look at political upheaval. You look at the way they handle their money, and there's flux in their economy that is dangerous to whatever funds you do take with you.
The grass ain't always greener.
The grass ain't always greener.
And we're in a pretty good spot.
Yeah.
In Pennsylvania.
Yeah.
Right now. That can change. But
let's keep it that way, please.
But
yeah.
I know we've preached on this, but we really, really, really need to stick together, regardless of our differences of opinion, regardless of our political affiliations, regardless of any of those things that they try to wedge between us. We really need to stick together.
Yeah.
And we need to support each other and hold each other up.
Yeah.
Especially in these times.
Yeah.
Don't let them win. That's all I got to say.
Yeah. So let's form a coalition of folks. So if you're out there and you've listened this long, I'm looking for people who can do things, who can grow things, who can build things. And we want to get a list of you together. Because in case everything does get really, really bad, we need to stick together, and we need to know which one of us we can go to. Like, I'm an herbalist. I can help you with healing yourself. I need to know who my farmers are that I'm going to be buying from if things get bad and food gets scarce and things go a little wonky. Or if there's another pandemic, I need to know. And I need to know who can build and who can weld, and who can make tools, who can sew. I need to know all those things. So let's start building ourselves a little coalition for our community. Who can? Yeah, I can grow weed.
I don't know anything about it.
No. You know nothing about my prowess. No, and so let us know. Let's build a coalition. Let's keep it on our bulletin boards. Let's pass it among ourselves in our email list. Let's come together. Jump on Signal. Send us a message. Get that app, download that app, and send us a message, because if we lose the grid for some unknown reason and we lose cell service, you can still peer-to-peer on Signal and talk to one another. So get with us and let us know what you can do, and let's start making a list. And we'll start putting your name out there, so maybe you start making some money now, from your neighbors, because I think we're going to have to do it for each other, because I don't think the cavalry's coming to save us and that the government's going to do it for us. So let's save ourselves. Let's take care of one another. Love you guys.
Love you.
Bye. So we hope you enjoyed this episode of In the Weeds, and we hope you didn't have to pick too much pucker brush off your cloak after visiting with us here. If you liked the episode, please follow, subscribe, and share. And if you're really kind, leave a positive review. Be sure to tune in next week as we publish a new episode weekly. If you're in the area, stop by the store and see us. Thanks so much for listening, and have a great day.